To Mr. Collier and Mr. Perry, two webmasters, and the topic is the internet and the digital divide, as well as dealing with the computer. And of course, gentlemen, before we had our first commercial break, we were talking about the computer and the internet. But I think that most of us are familiar with the term the digital divide. And so what we'd like to do this morning is to talk about the digital divide, and for you to give us some information relative to the scope and exactly what we mean when we talk about the digital divide, and any other information that you feel would be very, very helpful to our audience this morning, to not only tell them about the digital divide, but to encourage them to become involved in the computer, which is itself a part of that whole question of the digital divide. Let's start off with you, Mr. Collier, and have Mr. Perry to sort of help us as we develop this.
Well, when I think about the digital divide, I just think about myself recently. I was dealing with a dial-up modem, and I recently switched over to cable broadband access. And when I think about digital divide, I look at minorities. We're still on the dial-up modem, and everybody else is looking at, like I said, broadband and wireless. So I mean, there's a big gap, and we need to catch up. By first, we need to get more computers in our households. From there, and that's due to the income in the household. So there is going to be some types of problems there. But I just think we need to be more aware of technology and what's going on, and let's make an effort, a collective effort to catch up, because like I said, we're already 2 steps behind.
Mr. Perry.
And you think about that, I've just recently changed over to the cable as well, and I enjoy the speed of it. But again, I agree with them that everything is going digital now. I mean, you got digital TVs, digital clocks, and digital radios, computers, you name it, everything is going digital with some kind of type of computer inside of it. And as far as the training and education, it's also going digital. I'm involved in a project that we're doing over the internet, where we'll be able to train school food service personnel and be able to allow them to train on their own, at their own leisure, at home, where they won't have to spend money trying to travel from one place to another. All they have to do is log onto their computer, dial in. They'll be able to take quizzes, tests. They'll be able to talk to their instructor over the internet. And these are the type of things that the internet has allowed us to develop as far as distance education. And a lot of universities are doing that as well, where they're building training courses or courses over the internet where they can actually give you college credit over the internet. So this is where it's going.
Right, and see, with that technology that he's talking about, as a webmaster, I have to be careful, because since I am on the broadband, I can do my functionality, I can do a lot more things than I can with the dial-up modem. So as a webmaster, I have to be very careful, because that's why with Nashville Black, it's a very simple website, because I know if I throw a lot of flash and animation type things on my website, that everybody won't be able to pick that up, and it'll slow this. With a dial-up modem, that's going to slow it down.
At the same time, you do want to have the flash and things on there, because that's what brings your customers back to you. If there's something that's just up there and it's ho-hum and dry, they won't want to see as much. But if it was flashy, and what we mean by flash, there's a product called Macromedia Flash that will actually animate a lot of music and pictures, and will allow you to do a lot with a little bit of space that takes to download over the internet.
And of course, what you said is that with the technology that we find among many African Americans and others who are part of this other side of the digital divide, they don't have the technology or the skills to be able to take advantage of what might be found on a site dealing with as NashvilleBlack.com.
Yeah, mainly the technology. Like I said, most computers I look at, over at my mother's house, they have a 160 megahertz computer. Okay, and I recently just upgraded at the end of the year. First of the year rather, I just upgraded to a gigahertz, gigahertz computer. So you know, you have to be careful when, as a webmaster, I feel I have to be very careful on how I design my websites. I want it to be interactive. I have some type of, I have some flash or some gizmos and animations on there, but for the most part, I try to keep it simple because I know I want my website to upload to everyone's computer.
And when you think about the computer services and everything, you know it goes very fast. We like to look at it and say it's almost as if it's a dog's life where you got 7 years equal 1 year.
Right.
But it goes just that fast. And people try to hold on to these computers forever and then say, come fix my computer. And you look at it and you say it's going to take more to fix it than it will to go ahead and buy a new computer.
That's right.
And you won't have as much headache as well. So you need to really look at the computer as something that's going to change quite a few times within 2 years.
You know, I think that's quite interesting in the sense that when we generally think of the digital divide, we think of the absence of computers in a home. But what the two of you are saying is that in many of the homes where computers might be present, the computers are so old and outmoded, you see, that for all practical purposes, in terms of the ability to be able to deal with what the two of you as webmasters might be able to produce, they're way away from that, and it's almost as if they didn't have a computer at all if they've got...
That's right.
Is that what we're saying? Which makes it worse in a real sense than it really is.
Exactly.
I mean, we thought of at first, because this means that even when a person has a computer counted in his or her home, you see, and we say that this X number have, some of those computers are so old for all practical purposes, they might as well not. And so how do we deal with that?
Well, we're working on a program now that we're trying to enhance the software and the hardware needs in the community. So it's just going to take a collective effort with the community. We're going to have to come together, like you said, and let's get educated, and let's come to grips that, yes, you're going to need a computer in the future, because that's, like you said, digital. You got digital cameras, you got digital TV. I mean, that's the wave of the future. 25
seconds before the second break, Ms. Perry.
Well, again, I just can't stress enough where you need to have that new computer, or you need to have that newer or the latest software or the latest hardware out there available. And that's what it's going to boil down to. You're not going to get around anything.
Very good. And of course, let us take this second commercial break, and we'll be back with our audience following this short break. We're talking to Mr. Collier.